Hello everyone. Welcome to the tutorial on selections with the NXOpen API. As usual, to follow this tutorial, you must have good knowledge of the Siemens NX software. We will also use Microsoft Visual Studio as integrated development environment. Basic knowledge in C# programming is advised, but not necessary. When you're working with the Siemens NXOpen API, one of the first things you'll need to master is how your code interacts with what's on the screen. Selecting objects generally falls into two distinct categories. Let's look at the first, working with the current selection. In this scenario, your script acts as an observer. It looks specifically at what the user has already highlighted before the code ever starts running. But what if your script is already running and it needs the user to make a choice? That brings us to our second category, interactive selection. Unlike the first method, where the user selects objects before the script starts, this approach happens in real time. Here, the script takes control and prompts the user to pick specific objects directly from the graphics window while the code is active. This allows you to define exactly what the user is allowed to click, whether it's just edges, specific faces, or entire bodies. We will see both methods in this tutorial. In Microsoft Visual Studio, create a new project using the template we prepared in the tutorial configuring Microsoft Visual Studio for NXOpen. I will show you the first method, working with the current selection. Now, let's see how this looks in the code. First, we need to establish a connection to the NX user interface. We do this by defining our selection variable and pointing it directly to the UI SelectionManager. Once we have that connection, we want to know exactly how many items are currently highlighted. We declare an integer, which we'll call CNT, and assign it the value returned by the method getNumberSelectedObjects. Now that we have our count, we need to make sure there's actually something to work with. We start with a simple if statement. If our count is greater than 0, we proceed. Otherwise, we'll need to let the user know they missed a step. That's where our else block comes in. Instead of the script failing silently, we trigger an NX message box. This pops up a clear warning dialog, politely telling the user, "Please select something," before the script exits. To display our results, we call upon the listing window. We grab it from the current session, open it up, and print a quick summary line telling the user exactly how many objects the script found. This is where the heavy lifting happens. We run a for loop to iterate through every single object in that selection. Inside the loop, we use getSelectedTaggedObject to grab the specific item at index. We then print two vital pieces of information: the tag, which is the unique identifier NX uses for that object, and the type, so we know if we're looking at a face, an edge, or a component. Once we've listed everything, we close the listing window with the close method. This will not close the window, but only the resources. If you want to close the window visually, use the close window method. Oops, I made a mistake. Save your project and build the solution. Copy the path of the generated DLL in the output window. We will test our application in NX. Run the application with the Ctrl+U shortcut. Paste the path, select the DLL, and then click OK. Our message appears. We need to select something. Select the coordinate system and run again. We have selected the coordinate system feature. Let's add a block with the default values. Select the upper face, wait for the quick pick selector, and select also two edges. Run again the application. We have now 3 objects selected, the face and 2 edges. Now, if I select the block directly in the Part Navigator, it returns the block feature. If I select everything in the graphic area, you can see that all the faces and the edges of the block are listed, and also my datum coordinate system feature. Now, let's do something interesting with our selections. Comment the following code. We use a type check. We're asking the script, is this specific object a face? By comparing the object's type to the NXOpen face class, we ensure the next lines of code only run on relevant geometry. Once we've confirmed we have a face, we perform a cast. We take our generic tagged object and tell NX to treat it specifically as an NXOpen face variable. This unlocks all the face-specific properties, like area, surface type, color, etc. As I showed you in the previous tutorial, an NXOpen face object is a displayable object. The displayable object class inherits from the NXObject class, which in turn inherits the tagged object class. We can therefore perform a cast without any issues. Now for the visual update. We grab the current color index, just in case we need it later, and then define our new target. In this case, we're setting the color to index 145. We assign that value to the face color property. I don't know what color it corresponds to. It will be a surprise. Finally, simply changing the property in the background isn't enough for the user to see it. We call the reDisplayObject method. This forces the NX graphics window to update the selected face into its new color. We will also display information about our change in the console listing window. Before our script makes any permanent changes to the model, we need to create a safety net. In NXOpen, we do this by setting an undo mark. This essentially bookmarks the current state of the session. We declare a variable called markID to store the unique identifier for this specific point in time. We generate this by calling the session setUndoMark. Notice the 2 parameters we're passing here. First, we set the visibility to visible. This ensures that our action actually shows up in the undo list in the NX menu. Second, we give it a clear, human-readable name, undo change. By doing this, we aren't just running a script. If the user decides they don't like the changes the code made, they don't have to manually fix everything. They can simply hit Ctrl+C or select the undo change in the undo menu. This will revert the part back to exactly how it was before the script ran. Now, it's time to test our application. Save and build the solution. In NX, select Face in the Filter Selection drop-down menu and select 2 faces. Run the application. We had before a color index of 129. And now we have this beautiful magenta color. Let's try our undo mark to see if it's work. That's fine. To know a color index in NX, select a face with the right mouse button and click on the brush. Then in color, you can see the clues in the pop-up menu. Now, we can check for other type of NXObject, like edge or body. but don't forget to cast with the right type. This will unlock all the specific properties for the type, and you can do whatever you want with this objects. The only limit is your imagination. We will see now how to prompt the user to pick an object while the code is running. This is the interactive selection. Comment the code we did previously, but keep the connection to the UI Selection Manager. Now, we have to open the selection dialog to prompt the user to select something. For this, we use the NXOpen selection response. It triggers the interactive selection dialog that stops the code and waits for the user to pick something in the NX graphics window. Think of this as a status report. It doesn't store the objects you picked. Instead, it stores how the user closed the window. Did they click OK, cancel, or back? SelectTaggedObjects is the method call that actually opens the selection tool. It takes several arguments inside the parentheses to tell NX how to behave. The first argument is the QLine message. It's the instruction text that appears at the very bottom left of the NX window to tell the user what to do. The second argument is the dialog title. The selection scope defines where the user can look for objects, only in the active part, or throughout the entire assembly. Use default usually sticks to the current selection filter settings. With the fourth argument, you can tell NX to include the features. You can also keep the objects highlighted after closing the dialog. The sixth argument is the most important part for your data. The out keyword means take the items the user selects and pour them into the TaggedObjects array, so you can use them later in the script. We must declare this array of tagged object. In NX, almost every physical thing you see on screen, a point, a face, an edge, or a solid body, is a tagged object. We are telling the system to get ready to store a collection of these items once the user selects them. We start by checking the response variable. If the user clicked OK, the condition selection response OK is met, and our main logic begins. Inside the block, we first access the listing window. That's the text console inside NX. We use LWOpen to make sure it's visible to the user before we start printing data. Next, we loop through our collection of selected objects. For every tagged object in our list, we're extracting two key pieces of information: its unique tag ID and its object type. But what if the user hits cancel or closes the selection box? That's where the else block comes in. Instead of the program crashing or doing nothing, we trigger an NX message box. This pop-up informs the user that nothing was selected and the program is stopping gracefully. It's a simple but essential way to make your NX utilities feel professional and robust. Now, what's happened if the user click OK without select anything? We must add another condition in the if statement. We need to be sure that our tagged object array contains items. Now, save and build the solution. It's time to test the application in NX. Run with the Ctrl+U shortcut. The selection dialog box appears and invite you to select something. The script is paused and waiting for an action from the user before continuing. You can see the message at the very bottom left of the NX window. If you try to select something, you can see that you can only select the feature or the solid body. Select the body and click OK. We have the confirmation in the console. Now run again and click Cancel. The NX message box appears. Let's test if we do not select anything and click OK. Everything works fine. When building custom automation tools for 3D modeling, you don't always want the user to be able to click on everything. Sometimes, you need to restrict their input to specific geometry. Let's break down how to set up a selection filter in the API. Let's take a closer look at the SelectTaggedObjects method. This method contains several signatures or overloads. We have one with the selection type in the arguments. Let's use this signature. First, we define an array called SelectionType. This acts as our allowed list. By including faces, edges, and curves, we are telling the software to ignore bodies or points. The user will only be able to highlight and click on these specific types. Next, we have to modify the SelectTaggedObjects method. Put the value for the keep highlighted to false, and also change the scope to any in assembly. And replace the include features value with our selection type array. Save and build. Run in NX. Now the user can select the faces, the edges, and normally also the curves, but I don't have some in this part. Select 2 faces and 1 edge. It's worked fine. We will resume the program of the first chapter. We will change the color of the faces selected by the user. Remove the filters for the edges and curves. Copy the code part where we check the type of tagged object and paste it inside the for each loop. Modify the variables if it's necessary. We can also remove the code referring to the console. We don't need it anymore. The old color variable is no longer used. We can remove it too. Save and build the solution. Execute in NX. Select some faces and click OK. Nice. I hope you enjoyed this tutorial, and I invite you to subscribe to the channel in order to be informed about future tutorials. Thank you for watching.